Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Greg Lumison, also known as the Iron Mason, and today we're going to be covering a book haul from 2023. Now, full disclosure, not my library. Wish it was my library, not my library. Eventually, maybe one day. Let's get started and not waste any time. I'm a big sci-fi and fantasy guy, so I've got a couple books that I'd like to get into. First up, we're going to go with honorable mentions. Number one, The Big Book of Science Fiction. Now, within this is a collection of short stories, some of the best short stories that have ever been written, including Blood Music by Greg Bear, The Star by Arthur C. Clarke, The Last Question by Isaac Asimov, The Man Who Was Lost at Sea by Theodore Sturgeon, Sand Kings by George R.R. Martin was alright. It's like a sci-fi horror. I'm not a fan of George R.R. Martin. I prefer the TV series to his writing. If I'm being totally honest, not a big fan of George R.R. Martin. Blood Child by Octavia E. Butler was great. That one was a futuristic one about the end of times and radiation. Blood Music, phenomenal. If you are a fan of sci-fi, if you're a fan of horror, I'm not a fan of horror, but funny enough, I like sci-fi horror, come to find out. Pelt by Carol Emshwiller. Definitely a great read. A different perspective for sure. You've probably not read a short story or a science fiction story from that perspective that Carol does in Pelt. Definitely a great one. Isaac Asimov, definitely. You either love or you hate Isaac Asimov if you've read him. With his characters, it is final, it is poignant, it is the end when he decides it's the end. And there is no closure, none at all. So you either love or you hate Isaac Asimov. Definitely a fan in a love-hate kind of way. The Star by Arthur C. Clarke. It's definitely bittersweet, and I guess I like bittersweet. Book number 2, The Big Book of Modern Fantasy. Some really good ones in here. Let me see. I should have wrote these down. Let's go over one that I really did not like. You might like, but it's called The Lean Times in Lankmar by Fritz Lieber. I've heard that the stories pertaining to this short story, the other short stories, or even they might be novels or novellas, I heard they're great. This one, not a fan of. Absolutely hated it. Would not recommend. The Drowned Giant by J.G. Ballard, phenomenal. If you've seen Love, Death, and Robots, you've probably seen the animated film adaptation.
Come on then, Stephen. No time to waste gawking.
Great story. Phenomenal. The Barbarian by Joanna Russ. The Barbarian was good. That was about a female badass who ends up killing God. The themes in that, huge, poignant, very personal, very good short story. Memory does serve. That is the one. That's a good one. You guys should read that. Ark of Bones by Henry Dumas, phenomenal. Great one. The Ice Dragon by George R.R. Martin, definitely more of my, more along the lines of the fantasy sci-fi stuff that I like. This is, of course, The Big Book of Modern Fantasy, so definitely the fantasy that I like. This one was well written. Again, not a fan of George R.R. Martin, really. Everything I've read of his seems a little to me, and that's a hot take. Maybe it's not a hot take, maybe it is a hot take, but that's my take, and I'm sticking to it. So, Ice Dragon, good one. Would recommend. Probably one of the only ones I'd recommend of George R.R. Martin. Mrs. Todd's Shortcut by Stephen King, would recommend. Definitely a good one. It's Troll Bridge by Terry Pratchett. Conan, the Barbarian, hilarious. It goes right when you think it's going to go left. Or it goes left when you think it's going to go right. Defies expectations. They made a adaptation of it on YouTube.
The wind blew off the mountains, filling the air with fine ice crystals. It was too cold to snow. In weather like this, wolves came down into villages. Trees in the heart of the forest exploded when they froze. In weather like this, right-thinking people were indoors. in front of the fire, telling stories about heroes.
What took you so long?
I had to pay my respects to the mountain spirits.
You can actually watch it today. I'll put a link in the description for it. Phenomenal, hilarious, very well done. I would say probably my favorite short stories would be Blood Music by Greg Bear and Troll Bridge by Terry Pratchett. I've tried writing short stories. I'm terrible at them. I can't get the pace right. It seems like I don't do it justice whenever I try to write them. So I prefer to write novels, which I am currently writing one. And it's going to be great. Everybody I've let read it says it's phenomenal. Somebody said I write like Tolkien, which is crazy because I've never actually read a Tolkien book. I've only ever watched the movies and the TV series on Amazon Prime. So there's that. All right. Now that we've got the honorable mentions out of the way, if you are a fantasy lover and if you like Nordic fantasy, John Gwynne and his Bloodsworn series, this is book 2, The Hunger of the Gods. John Gwynne is somebody you're going to love and hate, depending on whether or not you like his writing style. And by this, I mean his book structure. John Gwynne makes each chapter dedicated to one of the main characters. The problem with that is that you get really invested into the character each and every chapter, and each and every chapter, it changes to another main character. You don't get 2 chapters back to back of the same main character. And that will either drive you insane, like it does with me, or you really love it because when it does finally come together and all these different main characters finally meet in that one great, epic, well-written, phenomenal scene, and it just comes off like perfection. John Gwynne does that. My only caveat is he doesn't give enough of when that scene finally does come together. He sticks to his 1 chapter rule. So if I had to have a critique of John Gwynne, it would be that. You just don't give me enough of each character, and when they do come together, you don't give me enough. I want more, which is infuriating, but also amazing. Another great book is Blindsight by Peter Watts. Blindsight is definitely one you should check out. I think it's book 1 of a 2-book series. Let me give you a little quick synopsis. Take vampires, put them in space, and mix in biology like we're using to bring back woolly mammoths. Let's say human beings had a genetic ancestor that split off a couple thousands of years ago that was vampires, and we found a way through science to bring vampires back, and vampires are the apex predator of human beings, and that is Blindsight by Peter Watts. It's book 1 of 2. One more is going to be The Spook Who Sat by the Door by Sam Greenlee. This is just a great book. Phenomenal book. Based in the past during the Chicago riots, way outside of what I usually read. It's not science fiction. It's more like James Bond if James Bond were a black guy, and it's great. All right, the next one is going to be A Deadly Education, Lesson 1 of the Scholomance series by Naomi Novik. This book is hilarious. So witty, so clever. The main character is totally not what you expected. Yeah, I can't say enough. I could not put this book down. Yesterday, I was at chapter 2, which starts at page 24. And by the time I finally put it down, it was 3 in the morning and I was on page 218. The humor in this is just out of this world and well written. This is the book 1. I look forward to reading the rest. This one is called Salvaged, and this is by Madeline Ruse. And I don't know if this is a standalone or if this is going to be a series. I'm in chapter 2. Nope, chapter 4. The book is great. I'm going to read for you. I don't know if I can do that, but I'm going to do it anyway. Rosalind had endured disappointing birthdays before, but never one in ankle-deep corpse sludge. She shifted her boots out of the reddish muck, swallowing hard as her feet suctioned to the floor. The job got more familiar, but not easier. Never easier. And this was way beyond skin slippage. This was putrefaction on a level she had never seen in person. Digital images just didn't capture it. The microscopic bacteria on the bodies were having a field day, turning once soft but decidedly human humans into a soup as dark and hideous as black gut blood. The kind of blood one never wanted to see squirt out of anything. But now she had to look at it. Now it was her job. I haven't got into it very far, but the character Rosalind is just, she's going through some stuff. And character depth and a flawed character is something that really intrigues me. This is a great book so far. I'm going to keep reading it. The next one is Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Rowanhorse. This is book number 1 in a series. The book was good, but it was only good. The lead up all the way to the very end was great, but she didn't pull off the ending. Yeah, she definitely missed the mark on that one. Left it short, was just at the end. Did not give me the satisfaction or even close to satisfaction that I had hoped for. But it is a series. I didn't know at the time that it was a series. I thought that it was a standalone, but all the way up into about the very end, it was a good book. Great book, even. Flawed character and different kind of magic system based on Native Americans. Was good, but only good. Another new book that I picked up in the book haul from Barnes & Noble. By the way, Barnes & Noble, crazy expensive. The next one, this will be familiar to most of you guys. It's The Witcher. And this is by Andrzej Zepkowski. Everybody knows The Witcher. The Witcher needs no introduction. I have never read it. I have never played the games. I watched the series. I was aware of the games. I just never played them. And with the 3rd season of The Witcher on Netflix and Henry Cavill being kicked off, I decided to give the source material a read because I really wanted to understand, number 1, the phenomenon that is The Witcher, and number 2, I wanted to look at it from the perspective of a writer myself as to what made it so sellable into a video game and a series. And also just to appreciate it, the original content, for what it was, because it seems to have separated from what that original content was. We know it's going to be great. I know it's going to be great, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't have blown up this commercially. So I look forward to reading it. The next one, I was actually looking really forward to until I read about the author. But the very back definitely intrigued me. The front definitely intrigued me. And so far, the writing is pretty good. The one thing that I am not looking forward to is what I read in about the author. I don't feel that sexuality should play into any storyline. I don't think it should matter. I don't think it needs to be blatantly obvious or stated even. I think that you should give the reader the ability to find out for themselves, experience the emotions and live through the character themselves. And I don't think it should be a selling point, and to read that in the back is just disappointing and off-putting to me. But so far the writing is good, very good. The prologue, I'm a big fan of prologues and books that start out with one. This one did, and also I believe it's self-published, or at least it was originally self-published, which, as an author who plans to be self-published himself, yeah, originally self-published. I love to see it, especially when they're at Barnes & Noble. So The Night and Its Moon, would recommend. I am currently making my way through it. And then last but not least, this one I'm really looking forward to. I guess this is a trilogy or a series of some sort. This is called The Thousand Deaths of Benn, Liar, Thief, Legend. And this is written by Tyler Whitesides. I know nothing about this. I picked it up. I read the back like we all do. Read the front, the title, and was immediately intrigued, especially by just the giant cityscape in the background. I mean, obviously gonna be epic. I am currently on chapter 2, which is page 35, and so far I am thoroughly impressed. Off the jump, there's 2 or 3 twists you would have never seen coming. The forethought of the author here is just, he's 400 IQ, you know what I mean? 5 steps ahead, Everything is well thought out. Everything has a purpose. The humor is great in it. And his book structure is definitely different. He doesn't seem to care to start his chapters at the tops of pages. It just, the chapter happens where it happens. It just seems like the chapter picks up where it picks up. Usually it's at the bottom of the page. Can't wait to tell you guys what I think of it when I finish it. If I hadn't ended the day with Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, I probably would be 300 pages into The Thousand Deaths of Benn, because it is a very well written book. In fact, all of these so far I am thoroughly impressed with. Oh, one more book. If I had to recommend a book for everyone to stay away from, and at the very least burn, that would be Janelle Monáe's book. I don't even remember the title of it. Should never have come out or been released. Probably selling it based on her name, because it wasn't sold on her writing ability. Absolutely a freaking dumpster fire. Don't buy the book. The plot was trash. The themes were trash. It wasn't cohesive. The grammar was atrocious. It was a dumpster fire. And that might be a hot take, but Janelle, guess what? It was terrible. Freaking terrible. Horrible writing. No, don't ever do it again. Terrible. So that is my book haul from Barnes & Noble. If you like this content, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, comment below if you want to see more, and until next time, catch you later. Peace.